In this video, we're going to go over how to put the bicycle saddle on and off the seat post. Saddles are commonly manufactured from a molding that is covered with various materials such as leather. There is often padding under the cover. However, saddles can also be just a piece of formed leather or plastic without padding. Saddles are commonly made with a pair of rails for connecting it to the seat post. These rails are nominally 7 mm diameter and are spaced 42 mm apart, center to center. There are many seat post designs where the clamping system is integrated into the head of the seat post. These come in several different configurations. They allow for saddle adjustments front to back, as well as tilting adjustments up and down. A common design uses a single vertical bolt with a convex and concave plate system that holds the rails. Another design uses a vertical bolt in front and another bolt in the back. These secure a bottom and top plate on the rails and allow for pivoting the saddle to set saddle tilt. This is another convex and concave plate system. It uses two bolts, one on the left and one on the right side. Another option is a single horizontal bolt to secure a left and right plate to the rails, such as this one. Older bikes and less expensive bikes may use a non-integrated system. The clamping head fits over a narrow section of the seat post. When replacing your old saddle with the new one, it can be useful to measure your old saddle position to duplicate it for the new saddle. Begin by taking the original saddle height using any reference point on the bike. This is because saddles can vary in stack or the distance from the rails to the top of the saddle. Next, measure the distance from the saddle nose to the center of the handlebars. This helps you duplicate the saddle front to back or fore-aft position. Lastly, measure the angle of the saddle in the middle. Use a protractor or even a cell phone app. Time to remove the saddle. Begin by inspecting the clamp to see what bolt or bolts you need to remove. If it's a new system to you and it looks confusing, take notes on parts orientation. Better yet, take a selfie with your seat post. Loosen the saddle rail mounting bolt or bolts. Sometimes the saddle rails will come out easily from the clamp. However, it can often be quicker just to at least partially dismantle the clamp. Here, both bolts are loosened and then the rear bolt is removed. The saddle is off. Before installing the new saddle to the post, it's good practice to prep the bolts and the head. Begin by cleaning all the components of the post. Next, consult your manufacturer to see what they suggest in the way of grease or thread prep. Install the new saddle between the clamping plates of the post. Run the bolts up, but do not tighten yet so you can begin the positioning adjustments. Slide the saddle forward and backwards to match the previous fore-aft measurements. Notice, however, some saddles have fore-aft limits on the rails. Do not clamp beyond these marks. For this design, with bolts in front and in back, work the two together to get the desired tilt. Loosen the front a bit and tighten the back to tilt the saddle up in front, or do the reverse to tilt it down. Secure the rails to the recommended torque. Double check the saddle height and adjust as needed. And don't be surprised if you need to make small adjustments to the saddle after a test ride. To install a saddle with this style of clamp, loosen the clamp nuts or bolts on the head. It is also good to grease the threads. Install the saddle rails. Then set the angle desired and clamp the rails. The torque required here can vary with a range from 15 to 20 Newton meters. After tightening, do a check. Grab the front and back of the saddle and push down and pull up. If it's moving, realign and resecure. Although commonly, saddles will use a metal wire for the rail system, there are exceptions. Saddle rails made of carbon fiber may be oval in shape, not round. Typically, these require a special seat post head to fit these taller rails, which can be 7 mm by 9 mm or 7 mm by 10 mm, not a round 7 mm shape. This clamping system is for a round rail and is not engaging well with this oval carbon fiber shape. The carbon rail is not being held evenly by the clamp. This could result in failure of the rail or the clamp. Contrast that to this clamping system that was designed to match the oval shape of these carbon fiber rails. Consult the manufacturer to see if your carbon fiber parts are compliant with your seat post. Another issue is the clearance between the saddle rails and the molding. This low-profile saddle is very narrow between the rails and the underside of the saddle. This particular post design is interfering with the saddle. This bolt is eventually going to damage and even crack the saddle mold. However, the same saddle with a different post style seems to be acceptable. The BMX pivotal design does not use a two-rail system. It adjusts for tilt only. It does not allow for front-to-back adjustment. The single bolt to remove the saddle is accessed through the middle of the saddle. The seat itself will have a convex surface that matches up with the concave surface on the post. The single bolt is held and stays with the saddle. Less expensive bikes and exercise bikes may use a flat clamp system with a compatible clamp. There are always going to be anomalies. Some systems you just may have to inspect and figure out how they clamp and work. Remember, you can always contact the manufacturer. Those are the basics of installing a saddle. Here are some troubleshooting issues you might run into. If you find your saddles tilting or moving as you ride, it's probably a loose mounting bolt. Check the security. If you find there's creaking between the clamp and the rail, again, check the security of the mounting bolt. If there's creaking and it's isolated between the rail and the molding, you need a new saddle. That's it. Time to ride, saddle up.